Kayla just told me that you had sex with her. And the only reason why I denied it to him was because his grandfather was sick. He sits here and says he had no idea.
How did you say this after my grandfather was sick? You didn't sleep together until my father died.
But
I went over there to see her. I got zero spiritual energy. I looked at her, don't look like me. She don't look like my sister.
All children don't have to look like father. They can look like me. They can look like the grandma. You don't know. It could be a visual of both of us. It's not all.
The question of paternity is not being brought up anymore. We ended up deciding to like spice up our sex life. Female threesome with him. So he got to pick another woman. It was maybe a couple weeks later it got brought up. It'd only be if we had a male, and you. So I said, okay.
Buckle up, Buttercup. Judge Lake kicks off the show with the case of Brooks versus Page. Ms. Brooks claims she was all set to start a family with Mr. Page, but now he's backing out, saying, nope, not my circus, not my monkey. Mr. Page points fingers at another guy, Tony Wilson, claiming he's the dad because of some iffy Facebook posts. You've got to see what's next. It's a real soap opera.
Ms. Brooks, you state after getting out of a 9-year relationship, you fell in love with Mr. Page, a younger man who you say swept you off your feet. You claim both you and Mr. Page plan to have a child together, but since giving birth to your son, Ivion, Mr. Page is now denying the child you so desperately wanted to have with him.
Just when you thought it was a regular Tuesday, Mr. Page is adamant that Tony Wilson is the daddy, thanks to some shady social media shenanigans. Ms. Brooks is like, nah, he's just a buddy, despite some cozy pics online. Stick around, it's about to get juicier than a reality TV show finale.
Mr. Page, you state you know the child isn't yours because Ms. was having an ongoing affair with another man by the name of Tony Wilson. You say Mr. Wilson, who is also claims to be the father of her son and has even posted pictures on social media to that effect.
Grab your popcorn. The couple spills the tea on their rocky romance. Ms. Brooks talks about constant bickering, how Mr. Page doubts he's the father, all because she hangs out with Wilson. Ooh, the drama. You won't believe what they say next. It's a real head spinner.
Right now, our relationship is on the rocks. We really have no relationship. All we do is fuss and fight. He's denying.
Because every time I come from work, she out with Mr. Wilson. So I don't know what she's doing at work. When I'm at work, she calls me, and I'm at work, I call her. Don't pick up, don't nothing. I call everybody that she hangs around with, they won't. So to me, I think she tells them not to pick up the phone.
Things are heating up now. They dive deeper into why Mr. Page is freaking out over being a dad, bringing up Ms. Brooks's past relationship with a woman and some sneaky texts. Buckle up, because we're about to dive into some evidence that'll make your head spin. Can you handle what's coming? Judge Lake gets down to business with Mr. Page's so-called proof, which is basically just a bunch of photos that scream, it's complicated. Both sides have a lot to say about these snapshots. Keep your eyes peeled, because Mr. Wilson's about to crash the party.
It stimulates from the paternity issues because first, when we first got together, it was lovely. When I first was pregnant, he did everything good, like during the pregnancy, and then everything changed.
What changed is her not being home when I come home at night, her and my son being around Mr. Wilson, her friend. That's what it comes from.
That I was in a 9-year relationship with was a female.
Oh boy, here comes the witness. Mr. Wilson steps up to explain he's just the godfather, not the bio dad. Mr. Page isn't buying it though, highlighting all he does for the kiddo. Fasten your seatbelts. This clash is about to reach new heights.
Well, I'll be honest, that's my godson. You know, I treat him like my son. I love him. On my lunch breaks, I stop past Sam, I spend time with him, take him to the park.
That's a lie.
How would that be a lie? You never there. You too busy playing the game, chilling with your homeboys and friends.
Why do you say he's lying?
I'm from Glen Burnie, Your Honor. We live in Baltimore. I don't have no homeboys and friends.
Did he just say that? Turns out, Mr. Wilson's been playing pretend daddy to everyone who'll listen. This revelation stirs up a storm of betrayal and confusion. You won't want to miss what's coming. The DNA bombshell is up next.
It was this girl I was dealing with to make her mad and make her jealous because she had an issue with Miss Brooks because her hair was long, fingernails, she has on press-ons. I was just making her be jealous. But due to social media is something else. Let me tell you. She put all my business up. I think Santa Claus even know about the situation. But the only person I spoke with was the female that I was dealing with, which was my ex.
This is it, the big reveal.
It has been determined by this court. Wilson, you are not the father.
Told you.
Just when you think your love life is complicated, Nadeau drops the bomb that she's tangled up with not one, but 2 lifelong best friends. She's completely clueless about who fathered her 2-year-old son, Cameron, causing all kinds of drama and confusion. Stick around, because the tea is just starting to spill.
Ms. Nadeau, you are caught in the middle of 2 lifelong best friends because you slept with them both and now have no idea which is 2-year-old Cameron's biological father.
Grab your popcorn, folks. Mr. Santilli spills his guts about the heart-shattering he found out about Miss Nadeau's Christmas Eve betrayal. The revelation shattered his world and put his friendship on the line. And guess what? It's only going to get messier from here.
Now, Mr. Santilli, you admit it's taken you years to mend your broken heart since Miss Nadeau revealed to you Christmas Eve she'd slept with your best friend. Furthermore, you say she then dropped the bomb that may instead be your son's biological father. That news, you say, has devastated you beyond.
As if things weren't spicy enough, we dive into the backstory of Miss Nadeau's dramatic breakup with Mr. Santilli, filled with emotional mind games and the tragic passing of a close relative. She sets the stage for a rebound with Mr. Zara. Trust me, you'll want to see what happens next.
His grandfather was sick and passing away. He decided in a text message he was going to tell me that I was too good for him. As much as I tried to stop him, he left anyway. So I continued to go and see his grandfather while he's in the nursing home getting sicker, starting to pass away. The day he passed away was the day his best friend told me that really he had broken up with me. Girl upstairs.
Can you believe this? Right after the funeral of Mr. Santilli's grandfather, Miss Nadeau and Mr. Zara find comfort in each other's arms. Yep, that happened. Buckle up, because this roller coaster is about to go off the rails.
The first time me and Mrs. Zara slept together was the day he passed away, the day grandfather passed away.
You don't really know who the father is. I always thought there was a code that, you know, if you have a best friend, they don't sleep with your girl or any you dated. Look, unless it's been years or you get prior approval.
Enter Mr. Zara. He comes into the courtroom and throws another curveball by saying Mr. Santilli practically gave him the green light to go after Miss Nadeau. The plot thickens, and oh boy, you're not ready for what's next.
At first, I did not believe the child was mine. No, I denied it to the fullest, yes.
At his house, he said, yo, bro, Kayla just told me that you had sex with her. And the only reason why I denied it to him was because his grandfather was sick. He sits here and says he had no idea.
Why did you say this after my grandfather was sick? You didn't sleep together until my father died.
But,
And just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, real drama starts. Both men are head over heels, thinking they might be Cameron's dad. They're both hooked, emotionally vested. And boy, the upcoming twist is a doozy.
So at what point did you come to believe this is mine?
After a few weeks of both of them promising that months of them promising that the kid
I was about
mine.
5 or 6 months pregnant, and he texted me and said that he wanted something to do with the baby and that he wanted to try to be together for him.
During the birth of the child, which one was with you?
I was there. Here's a picture of me in the hospital the day he was born.
Hold on to your socks, because they're about to get knocked off. After Mr. Santilli lands in jail, the relationship dynamics take a wild turn with Miss Nadeau and Mr. Zara. It's a full-on soap opera, and the next scene is a cliffhanger.
So the next morning after you went to jail from this incident,
he took up his role as the child's father.
This is the first picture of Tom and Cameron together. I came out and said that, you know, the baby's Tom's. That's what I believe now. He showed up. It was the day after Christmas Day, and he said, you know, if he's my son, I want to do what I have to do to take care of him.
The moment of truth is here. Drum roll, please.
it has been determined by this court that Cameron's biological father is Mr. Santilli.
You won't believe this one. Ms. Rose kicks things off by demanding a DNA test for Mr. Jefferson and his buddy Mr. Power, because surprise, both could be daddy to her 3-year-old mini-me. Sire, fasten your seatbelts, because we're just revving up.
Ms. Rose, you asking the court for DNA tests on 2 men. Your on-again, off-again boyfriend, Mr. Jefferson, his good friend, Mr. Power, who is waiting inside of the courtroom. Both men, you say, possibly be father of your 3-year-old son, Sire.
Just when you think it's all about baby drama, Ms. Rose throws in a zinger. She's accusing Mr. Jefferson of trashing her rep all over town, from church to the supermarket. You've got to stick around because the gossip gets juicier.
Now, Ms. Rose, you're also suing Mr. Jefferson $5,000 for defamation of character. You claim he's ruined your reputation at church, your job, and with your entire circle of friends. Now, Mr. Jefferson, you say you not only question the paternity of 3-year-old son, but you are also asking for the results of a DNA test on your 2-year-old son, Zayden, as well.
Hold on to your popcorn. Mr. Jefferson isn't just doubting daddy duties for Sire. He's also side-eyeing Zayden's paternity. He's convinced Ms. Rose has been playing musical chairs with their love life. Oh boy, wait till you hear what's next.
You claim Ms. Rose is a known cheater who has slept with your good friend and many others. Therefore, you doubt everything she says.
He definitely has this issue and constantly telling me that I'm so beautiful and he's not, and he's jealous of me and thinks that he's gonna lose me, and I'm constantly cheating on him, and it's just insanity.
And the truth comes out. Ms. Rose spills the beans about her tangled love web, admitting admitting she juggled both Mr. Jefferson and Mr. Power simultaneously for a hot minute before the pregnancy news hit. The plot thickens, so don't go anywhere.
I met Michael first, was sleeping with him. We were kind of together, but not very serious. He fell in love with someone, moved on, and then I ended up with Kenneth. There was a point where I was sleeping with both of them at the same time. Then later, that probably went on for a good month. Then I ended up getting more serious with him. Actually, I stopped seeing Michael, committed to Kenneth, and then I ended up pregnant about 2.5 weeks later.
Enter Mr. Power. Stage right. He strides into the courtroom to share his 2 cents, confirming his fling with Ms. Rose and fretting over potentially being Sire's dad. The tension's rising, and the next twist is a doozy.
You believe that you potentially could be Sire's father.
I met Alicia at a bar. Within 2 hours, we were back at her house having unprotected sex. We hooked up multiple times. You don't know, brother. She's just a bad person. I just
that you keep sleeping with.
Brace for impact. Judge Lake tackles the defamation claim, schooling everyone on what counts as slander and what's just chit-chat. The gavel comes down, don't wander off. The DNA results are up, and they're mind-blowing.
If you have slept around with men and you live a lifestyle where you choose to sleep, you can't then claim defamation of character if somebody then talks about you. Say your whole life has been ruined, but I haven't heard anything where you've lost a job or lost something.
Here comes the big reveal. Drum roll, please.
Mr. Jefferson, you are the father.
Buckle up, folks. We kick things off with the juicy court case of Garrett versus Boyer. Ms. Garrett is here, all guns blazing, to prove that Mr. Boyer is indeed biological dad of her adorable 2-year-old Naomi. She's not just here for the drama, she's on a mission. Stick around because this roller coaster is just leaving the station.
Ms. Garrett, you are here on a mission today to that the defendant, Mr. Boyer, the biological father of your 2-year-old daughter, Naomi. You say that after a month of non-stop, unprotected sex with the defendant, you are 100% sure they fathered your child.
Oh boy, didn't see that coming. Mr. Boyer throws a curveball by totally denying he's Naomi's father, saying he only got wind of her a couple of months ago. His cool denial adds some serious spice to the mix. Just wait till you hear what's up next.
Mr. Boyer, you say there's no way you could be the biological father of Ms. Garrett's baby. Her child is 2 years old and you learned of Naomi 2 months ago.
Cue the awkwardness. Things get a tad uncomfortable as Garrett and Mr. Boyer hash out their past fling, which was, let's just say, less than fairy tale-like. They admit it was all about the bada bing, beta boom. The plot thickens, and trust me, you'll want to stick around for the sizzle that's coming up.
It takes 2 to tango, both grown, we both did what we did, and the result to what the fact that we did, we created a beautiful baby girl, and I just need to clarify to him that she is his, because if the fact that when the test results come that she is his, he will take care of my daughter, he will be responsible, because if not, I have no problem with taking him to court at all.
Here comes the TMI train. Choo-choo. Ms. Garrett openly admits to their month-long bedroom rodeo, which Mr. Boyer isn't fully buying. This juicy bit lays bare the root of their paternity pickle. Hang tight, because there's more eyebrow-raising stuff on the way.
And we had 31 days of sex, unprotected.
Straight of unprotected sex? I'm not gonna say that deserves a round of applause, even though you got one. You all were working real hard making a child, because you weren't using protection.
No, we was not.
Talk about dodging the question. Mr. Boyer sorta admits there was some action, but not the marathon Ms. Garrett is talking about. This half admission throws a little gas on the fire, making the need for a DNA test super obvious. Keep watching. The next bit is a doozy.
You admit you were in this sexual relation, or did you believe she was having sex with other people?
No, I was never under the impression that it was only me. It was too easy for it to be only me. I never wanted to put her under the wing like fried rice, though. She was just part of the plate, like, temporarily, not to take home and put in the microwave.
Under the wing like fried rice?
I never wanted to put her under the wing like fried rice, no.
Man plot twistle. The soap opera spirals as Ms. Garrett reveals she initially thought another dude was the dad due to their timing. This revelation throws another potential daddy into the chaos. The next revelation is just as juicy, so don't go anywhere.
After our sexual relationship was over, I wound up dating another guy. Me and him was consistent. Automatically the other gentleman's baby. So
you started dating somebody new, thought it was his child. So you told him, I'm pregnant.
Yes.
Was he happy about it?
Yes, he was.
So you told him you were pregnant and you never to notify Mr. Boyer?
No.
And here comes the skepticism train, full steam ahead. Mr. Boyer meets little Naomi and feels zilch, nada, no daddy vibes at all. This crucial moment really cranks up his doubt to level 100. But stick around, the next part is even more jaw-dropping.
She asked me to try to be around, try to get to know Naomi a little bit. I went over over there to see her. I got zero spiritual energy. I looked at her, don't look like me. She don't look like my sister. I don't know, maybe the eyes, but that's about it. I don't see any resemblance there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
All children don't have to look like father. They can look like me. They can look like the grandma. You don't know what to look like. It could be a visual of both of us. It's not all.
You might want to sit down for this. The judge lays down the law with DNA proof that the other guy is not the father. Now it's really crunch time for Mr. Boyer, and the air is thick with anticipation. The big reveal is up next, and it's a humdinger.
And so the DNA test revealed the man that you were sure was Naomi's biological father was
100%.
in fact not her biological father.
I have it with me, Your Honor.
I'd like to see it. So this is a copy of the paternity results, and there's a 0% probability of paternity regarding the other potential.
Yes, Your Honor.
Here it is, the big kahuna, grand finale.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Boyer, you are not the father.
Brace yourself, folks. Everyone's told to park it because the show is starting. Hellos are thrown around the courtroom, and the title bout, Stremke versus Jaramillo, is on the marquee. It's about Ms. Stremke dragging Mr. Jaramillo into court because, oh boy, the family drama is peaking due to some major daddy doubts that are tossed out there. And just when you thought your family reunions were rough, check out what's next.
Ms. Stremke, you've dragged Mr. Jaramillo to court in hopes of saving your family, which you claim is falling apart due to paternity denial. You say the defendant paternity for both of your daughters, 4-year-old Naviana and 8-month-old Elect, but you want to prove that he is their father.
Hold the phone. Did he just say that? Mr. Jaramillo drops a bombshell about his doubts on being the daddy, claiming he was an eyewitness to some suspicious shenanigans, make him question the whole fatherhood gig. He's pretty adamant that without DNA proof, this family picture might as well be a sketch. Fasten your seatbelts. It gets bumpier from here.
Mr. Jaramillo, you claim doubt is valid because you were present when another man impregnated Ms. Stremke. Family you thought you were building is not salvageable until you have DNA proof.
Grab some tissues. This one's a tearjerker. Mrs. Stremke spills the beans on how the paternity mess is messing with their kiddos, especially 4-year-old Naviana, who's starting to side-eye her dad, wondering if he's really the guy. She lays it all out, painting a picture of a home where doubt is part of the decor. You'll want to stick around for the next bit. It's a doozy.
Your Honor, I feel like my family is falling apart because my daughters are growing up how I had to. We didn't have both parents present at different times. We were denied. I feel like they can't trust their dad because he denies that he's their dad at the time. And my 4-year-old Naviana knows. She can hear the, well, I'm not her dad anyway. And it just gives her doubt. And when she looks at her dad, there's not going to be respect there.
Talk about a plot twist. They met as teens in a lockup, which sounds like the start of a bad rom-com, right? Ms. Stremke digs into their rocky start and how it's haunting their present. It's a saga of bad timing and tough breaks, all wrapped up in a not-so-fairy tale romance. Don't go anywhere. The story takes a wild turn next.
We met very young. I was 13. We met in a lockup facility we were both staying at. We had no choice. We didn't have childhoods at all, so we had to stay there. I see it now, and I don't go down that road to where they have to go through what we did.
2 children and your family on the line, I understand that.
Okay, who had this on their bingo card? The talk turns to the sticky topic of paternity tests. Ms. Stremke admits to past liaisons, throwing Mr. Jaramillo's fatherhood into question. He explains why he signed the birth certificate. It was a total hallmark moment. But hold on to your popcorn. This drama isn't cooling down yet.
I was upfront. We told you that there was one other person before we had gotten together.
You said one other, and then came another fellow that your best friend told me about.
I had never slept with anybody but one person besides you, and that was before we had gotten together.
Did you ever attempt to have a paternity test back then?
No, Your Honor, because every time I brought it up, it was always, oh, I know she's mine. I know she's mine. I mean, I have right here.
Can't make this stuff up. They decided to add some zest to their love life with a threesome, which just complicates things further regarding little Alexis's daddy drama. They unpack this choice and its aftermath, showing just how tangled things can get when you throw extra people into the mix. What happens next? You guessed it, more chaos.
It ended up an actual conversation where I was, okay, well, it wouldn't be the worst thing because we're getting along really well. The question of paternity is not being brought up anymore. We ended up deciding to spice up our sex life and everything, and we ended up having female threesome with him, so he got to pick another woman. It was what it was. We did it. It was maybe a couple weeks later it got brought up. It'd only be if we had a male, and you. So I said, okay.
Phew, finally some answers. Judge Lake rolls out the DNA results, and guess what?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Jaramillo, you are the father.
So here we go. curtain rises on quite the courtroom drama. The case of Kennedy versus Pope kicks off with the judge laying down the welcome mat. He greets everyone in his usual style, and we're all set to dive into a paternity mystery involving Mr. Kennedy, Ms. Pope, and a little one named Christian. Grab your popcorn, because this is just the warm-up act.
Mr. Kennedy, you claim to be a nice guy who was to make the tough decision to drag the defendant to court. Prove you did not bother her 3-month-old son, Christian.
Oh boy, here it gets spicy. Ms. Pope and her mom are throwing some serious shade, insulted that Mr. Kennedy is denying he's the baby daddy. Ms. Pope is all fired up, demanding that he take responsibility after their fling. And guess what? The tea is about to get even hotter.
Ms. Pope, you and mother are insulted that Mr. Kennedy denied paternity and refused to acknowledge your child. You say he laid down with you and now he has stepped up and paid.
Hold on to your seats, folks. Mr. Kennedy spills the beans on why he thinks Ms. Pope is pinning the baby on him. He paints a picture of their casual fling turning into this court drama, insisting it was all chill and no strings attached. Oh, but keep your eyes peeled. The plot thickens in a minute.
I believe she's just looking for someone to pin it on or pick up the slack for her previous, encounter.
And so, take me back to the nature of your relationship.
It started off as just friends. We met through a mutual friend. It got physical once got to know each other.
So did you all enter into a committed relationship? Were you boyfriend and girlfriend?
I would say
no?
briefly.
And the saga continues. Ms. Pope reminisces about the good old days when Mr. Kennedy was the all-American charmer, which, spoiler alert, didn't last long. She dishes on how things went south after they got cozy, setting the stage for their current courtroom clash. Don't touch that dial, because it's about to get even juicier.
We did get along in the beginning, but he was a jerk, and I no longer wanted to be around that.
Why were you sleeping with him if he was a jerk?
He came off as an all-American guy in the beginning. We had a lot of things in common. We had the same birthday, the same football team.
The bottom line is you all got along in the beginning, and you started a sexual relationship with him.
Yes, Your Honor.
Things are heating up. We shift gears to when Ms. Pope figured out she was expecting, and Mr. Kennedy's jaw-dropping reaction, or lack thereof. She details how she broke the news and his lukewarm response, ramping up the tension. Stick around, because you won't want to miss what's coming up next.
My version is we were in the beginning, but then it became friends with benefits, kind of a ordeal. Yes,
But
Your
you
Honor.
were having a sexual relationship,
Yes, Your Honor.
and you were not using protection?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Pope, at some point you say the tables start to turn.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because he accuses you of having feelings for your ex?
That's not even remotely true. The reason why she didn't have a GED, she didn't have a future plan.
Cue the dramatic music. Mr. Kennedy talks about getting the bombshell via Facebook after the baby arrived, which was his first clue he might be a dad. Yep, you heard that right. Facebook. This modern twist to the paternity puzzle adds a whole layer of what the heck. Stay tuned, because the surprises are far from over.
Through Facebook, I got messages.
She did not tell you she even had the baby until after the baby was born.
Yes,
I
Your
had
Honor.
messaged him the night
And you
that I
get
went into
some
labor.
messages. I've been trying to get a hold of you. I wanted to call you and talk. Reply about. She replies, would you like to guess? And then you reply, no. And then Ms. Pope says, okay, well, I'm not sure how to say this, so I'll just show you. And you send a picture of the baby.
Yes, it looks just like him.
Guess who decided to make a visit? Mr. Kennedy finally goes to see baby Christian for the first time, trying to spot any family resemblances. He's looking for any sign that might link him to the kiddo, all while wrestling with his feelings about the whole mess. And oh boy, get ready for the big reveal soon.
I took a 6-hour trip out of my day to go up and actually see the child with my own eyes, just to make sure I didn't get anything until after the child was born.
So when you took the time and went up to see Christian, what happened?
Just held him for a while, trying to gather, anything, kids or anything like that, find any similarities between him and I, and that was basically it.
And boom goes the dynamite.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Kennedy, you are the father.
But we had sex when that was like 4 or 5 days after my birthday.
So that's your...
Would you say the whole
Do
weekend?
the math.
One day.
I said the whole course of the relationship.
Ain't no relationship. Stop lying.
You got a calendar from 24 years ago?
Hey, listen,
Wow.
man,
I don't
I
even
do
keep a
my
calendar
homework.
from last, but you got a calendar from 24 years
Dig,
ago.
I do my homework. I'm a creative calendar to illustrate, but 3 months later, she tell me she's pregnant a month later.
So, get this. Judgment is for the plaintiff, Ms. Stewart. She claims she and Mr. Anderson were an item for 6 months, 27 years back, resulting in their kid, Christopher. She accuses Mr. Anderson of playing hide-and-seek with his dad duties. But stick around. It only gets juicier.
Miss Stewart, you say a 6-month relationship with Mr. Anderson 27 years ago resulted in the birth of your son, Christopher. You say Mr. Anderson is a deadbeat who's been running from his responsibilities all this time, and you intend to prove paternity today.
You won't believe this bit. Mr. Anderson fires back, calling Ms. Stewart a bit too friendly with too many, chasing child support like it's her job, and totally totally clueless about who the real daddy might be. He's adamant he's not the father. Oh boy, wait till you hear Ms. Stewart's comeback.
You say Miss Stewart was a promiscuous two-night stand who is obsessed with child support money and has no idea who her child father is. Say there is no way you are her son's father.
Things are heating up. Ms. Stewart doubles down, insisting Mr. Anderson has been dodging his dad duties. Mr. Anderson is not having it, claiming he's been in and out of court trying to sort this mess. Buckle up, the drama is ramping up.
I'm here to prove that Tony Anderson is a deadbeat father.
I object, Your Honor.
I've been going back and forth to court to try to establish paternity.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Because he is Chris' father. It's time for him to man up. We dated for 6 months, Your Honor.
She's a lie.
You say it wasn't 6 months, Mr. Anderson?
We only messed around twice. We was more or less friends with benefits.
No way, did he just say that? The argument heats up with Mr. Anderson, recalling a rather flattering comparison of himself to a pork chop by Ms. Stewart during their first meet. Yep, you read that right. And guess what? There's more hilarity ahead.
We talked on the phone for about 2 months. She came to my house, she was looking at me like I was a pork chop. You know what I'm saying? So
you wasn't tasty.
Look, very much
because you only cook beans and rice food.
Well, I count on one hand how many times I've ever seen her in my whole life.
That's a lie.
You say you dated for 6 months.
This fool in February of '91. We was in a relationship. The last time I chilled with him was in August.
Hold on to your seats, folks. Mr. Anderson tries to set the record straight with a Labor Day weekend timeline that he says proves he couldn't be the dad. He's pretty firm on this point. Keep watching, because this roller coaster is about to go off the rails.
We got Labor Day weekend.
Oh, so in yellow, you have Christopher Stewart's birthday is February 19th, where you had the two-night stand was Labor Day weekend.
Yes, ma'am. She came in the van, her and her friends, they took us to the beach, and we had sex in the van. That was the second time.
Second time.
I'm lying.
I'm listening. Second time.
She was already 2 months pregnant.
Can you handle this? They delve into the nitty-gritty of their brief fling, with Mr. Anderson insisting it was just a birthday bash booty call. Ms. Stewart disagrees. Things are about to get even spicier, so don't go anywhere.
I met Mr. Anderson February. The last time me and him slept together throughout the whole 6 months was his birthday week. His birthday was in August.
I mean,
your birthday not in August 27th.
But we had sex when that was like 4 or 5 days after my birthday.
So that's your.
Would you say the whole weekend?
Do the math.
1 day.
I said the whole course of the relationship.
Ain't no relationship. Stop lying.
This part's a doozy. Ms. Stewart spills the beans about telling Mr. Anderson about the baby bump. He supposedly said, nah, you trippin'. He was MIA at the birth. Didn't sign the birth cert. Nada. What's next? You'll crack up at his excuse.
You find out you're pregnant.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you tell Mr. Anderson?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
And what does he say?
I'm tripping. Who the daddy?
Then obviously he wasn't a part of the birth process, wasn't there when Christopher was born. Did you put his name on the birth certificate?
No, Your Honor. He was not present.
Your Honor, that's not true. When that boy was 2 days old, I came over there with some diapers.
You're not ready for this. Ms. Sar. Ms. Stewart whips out the big guns. Proof of Mr. Anderson owing over 20 grand in child support. Mr. Anderson admits it, but isn't happy about the figure. Strap in. The next part is a wild ride.
The reason why we probably here today, because when I was contacted, I received a letter in the mail from the Texas Attorney General. They've been compensating money from him. It's a debt for over $20,000 that he owed. I got the paperwork right here.
Let me see
you trying
this
to run for
paperwork.
Just like you ran for father.
You DNA test the whole life.
It would make sense run dead, but I ain't running that because it really don't matter because he grown.
And boom goes the dynamite.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Anderson, you are the father.
Yeah.
Can you even believe this bombshell? Jasmine Degree learns from her mom when she was just a sprout at age 9 that Mr. Little might actually be her bio dad. Big yikes considering she thought someone else was. This whole truth bomb came after Mr. Little had been denying paternity left and right despite admitting he and Jasmine's mom had a bit of a fling back in the day. The courtroom is buzzing and you can cut the tension with a knife. Just when you think it can't get wilder, buckle up because it does.
The whole world changed when you were just 9 years and your mother revealed to you that your dad was not your biological father. He's denied you ever since. Mr. Little, you say you are 100% certain you are not her father.
Talk about a wild phone call. At the ripe old age of 11, Jasmine decides to play detective and rings up Mr. Little to chat about dad stuff. Mr. Little is all DNA test or bust, despite barely knowing who Jasmine is. This early clash sets the stage for a bunch of drama and messy emotions all over the courtroom floor. Hold on to your popcorn because the next scene is a doozy.
And I called him up on the phone, who my mother was and what I believe. He don't know, he need a DNA test, he don't think so, and...
Mr. Little, you told an 11-year-old you needed a DNA test?
Yes, I did.
Get a load of this guy in the middle of a heated throwdown. Mr. Little whips out a calendar from 24 whole years ago as his so-called proof, trying to dodge the conception timeline like it's dodgeball. This moment really shows how far Mr. Little is willing to go to prove he's not the father, turning the courtroom into a reality show set. And just when you think this couldn't turn up a notch, it totally does.
You got a calendar from 24 years ago?
Hey, listen, man,
I don't even keep a calendar from last, but you got a calendar from 24 years ago.
I do my homework. I'm a creative calendar to illustrate, but I don't know if she who Beanie or what. How do you come up 3 months later pregnant?
Plot twist incoming. Mr. Little spills the beans about getting blindsided with child support deductions from his paycheck, swearing up and down that it's a mistake. This twist throws a whole new layer of financial drama into the mix, proving that paternity puzzles can hit the wallet too. Stick around because the next part is just as juicy.
If they start taking stuff out my check, I'm called, I want to take a DNA test because I want to get it stopped. I call this number, they tell me they taking money out. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. It's not my child. She done told me twice it wasn't mine.
Oh boy, here's where it gets even stickier. After the garnishment gets halted, Jasmine's mom gets grilled about whose name she dropped for the paternity rodeo when she signed up for welfare. Turns out, it's not just Mr. Little on the potential daddy list. This part dives deep into the sticky web of social and legal drama, showing just how tangled these tales can get. You're not going to want to miss what happens next. Things get real.
Going to exist where you needed to?
No, Your Honor, because I would have appeared.
When you were asked to give a name, did you give only his name or were there multiple?
Cannon Little names.
There should have been multiple names.
Crank up the drama meter. Jasmine lays it all out, airing her frustration over how long it's taken to figure out if Mr. Little is her dad or not. She's like, dude, I found you in 5 minutes. What's your excuse? Frustration highlights not just the emotional toll, but also the slapstick of the situation as she steps up to call out the absurdity. The reveal coming up is absolutely not to be missed. It's a total showstopper.
And I'm not saying he is my father. I'm not. And I was 11 years old. It took me 5 minutes to get in contact with him. So you telling me it took you 21 years? I mean, how was it that hard? So you must have not been searching. Our family members is married, so how can it be that hard to get?
And here's the big reveal. Drum roll, please.
Mr. Little, you are her father.
Mr. Moore strides into court today, all geared up to prove he's the real deal dad of 4-year-old Allie Luna. He's totally convinced that the defendant, Ms. Scott, has been playing with his emotions by letting another dude play dad. He's here to squash those doubts and slide into his daughter's life, like he's sliding into home base. Just you wait for what Ms. Scott has to say about this.
You came to court today to prove are the biological father of 4-year-old Aliana, and your current girlfriend claim the defendant has played on your emotion and has allowed another man to raise your little girl. You are desperate to put the defendant's doubt to rest so you can finally end your daughter's life.
Judge Lake's on the case, poking at why Mr. Moore hasn't seen his supposed daughter. Turns out Ms. E. Scott's been blocking him harder than a goalie at a soccer match. No calls, no texts, nada. The audience's jaws drop as Mr. Moore lays out his failed attempts to connect. Hold on to your popcorn, because there's a juicy bit coming up about why Ms. Scott's keeping him at bay.
I've never seen my child a day in my life.
But you're convinced she's your daughter.
Yes, Your Honor.
So why hasn't he seen her? If he feels that way, why hasn't he tried to see her?
I've tried to see her, Your Honor. She blocked me sources of contact. She even changed her number. I tried to reach out to her on social media. I couldn't even get through on that.
Never about seeing her, never. Only thing he ever said was, that's my child.
The beans spill as Mr. Moore drops a bombshell that Ms. Scott was also seeing another guy around the time Allie Luna was conceived. The crowd goes wild. Judge Lake points out that while this might make you scratch your head, it doesn't mean you can just block a guy out. Stay tuned. The saga of their past relationship is about to unfold.
Because she had sex with another guy at the time.
Well, that's reason to doubt.
Yes.
But not deny. That's what you're saying.
Sure.
It still remains that you are a possibility. So now, what was the nature of your relationship?
We met on a dating site. He was kind of like an escape plan for something that I was on.
An escape plan?
Yeah.
Escape plan?
Mr. Moore and Ms. Scott swiped right into a whirlwind romance and shacked up almost instantly, but only for a hot minute. This fleeting fling is now at the heart of the paternity puzzle. Coming up, Ms. Scott's got a pregnancy announcement that'll throw everyone for a loop.
Your Honor, we had sex the first night I met her.
We so did not. It was not the first night. It was early, but it wasn't the first night.
Did you use protection?
No, it wasn't protected.
So you moved in for a month. Were you faithful during that month?
Like, I was currently in a relationship when I met him originally.
Allie Luna's birth certificate is missing Mr. Moore's name, but she's rocking the last name of Ms. H. Scott's current guy. This nugget of info hits the court like a slapstick punchline. They squint at the birth certificate details, noting Mr. Moore's absence. But don't go anywhere. The social media drama is about to ramp up.
Is he on Aliana's birth certificate? certificate your boyfriend?
He is mentioned on all of her hospital paperwork, and she has his last name.
Under child's name, it reads Aliana Janelle, and then for father's name, there's no name listed.
But they allowed me to give my daughter her dad's name, even though his name isn't on there because he physically wasn't there.
Enter Ms. Williams, Mr. Moore's main squeeze, who stirs the pot with tales of social media shade that hint Ms. Scott might think Mr. Moore could actually be the father. Social media is turning this courtroom drama into a soap opera. Buckle up, as the DNA results are just around the corner, and you won't believe this twist.
How I heard of Adriana, and this is why I say he's the father, because when me and Mr. Moore first got together, I had posted Duntavius on social media. Miss Scott here, she commented on there, was like, I hope you got money for a baby wife.
Never. Why would I do that? He not her daddy.
On top of that, right after when I had our son together in 2016, Mr. Moore had posted my son on social media.
The big moment's here, and Judge Lake's about to drop the DNA truth bomb. The court's buzzing. Everyone's on edge. This is the make or break moment. Keep your eyes peeled. The truth's about to blow the roof off this place.
If a test, which it shouldn't, there's no way a test should say that he is the dad, but if it does, then hey, we will make efforts, have some type of relationship built with them too. Because it's not for me, it's for.
It has been determined by this court. Moore, you are the father.
Can you believe this? Right out of a soap opera, Ms. Fuller drops a huge bombshell that the man on her birth certificate isn't her real dad. Instead, her mother whispered with her last breaths that her true pops was a famous singer, the main squeeze of her life. Talk about starting off with a plot twist. Just wait until you hear what's coming up.
Miss Fuller, you say that on your mother's deathbed, she confessed your dad was not the man listed birth certificate. You claim she then told you that your biological father was actually a well-known singer who was also the love of her life.
All right, hold on to your popcorn, folks. After a wild goose chase, Ms. Fuller finally tracked down this mystery crooner who's literally chilling outside the courtroom as we speak. The audience can't even. They're all gasps and drop jaws. And Judge Lake, she's all in. Buckle up, because their face-to-face is going to be epic.
Hey, you say you finally tracked him down and he's waiting outside of the court. Now, while you have doubts whether he is actually your biological father, you confess he's your last hope.
Grab the tissues, here's where it gets extra. Ms. Fuller unpacks years of daddy issues, telling us about the day her stand-in dad bounced and spilled the beans that he wasn't her biological father. This news hit her like a truck full of bricks, and honestly, it's been a roller coaster ever since. And just when you think you've caught your breath, there's more to this family drama.
And I took and carried that with me for a long time. I'm 47 years old. I just like some answers. I've got a lot of mixed emotions. I've never needed a father. I've always tried to carry on my life without knowing where I come from. You know, I've been pretty displaced right now. I'm really just looking for some answers, and I need closure.
Hold the phone, folks. Just before she kicked the bucket, Ms. Fuller's mom threw out a name, Cornelius. Yup, that supposedly dear old dad, by the way, was a sax-toting heartbreaker. So Ms. Fuller hit the web, detective hat and all, to track this dude down. Next up, she finds something in her mom's old records that'll knock your socks off.
So my mom on her deathbed, she died about a year ago, less than a year. She told me that really my father is possibly Cornelius. Didn't know who that was, and who he is. Possibly.
So she just gave you a name?
Gave me a name, and she said that basically that he was a saxophone player, he was a musician. And I thought, wow, okay. I found a record in her stuff. Once I heard it, I just was...
You're not ready for this. Ms. Fuller whips out a vinyl record in court like it's show and tell, and guess what? It's got a track her supposed dad wrote all about her mom, Lorraine. If that ain't a clue, I don't know what is. The lyrics? Mushy as heck. Stick around because their first meeting is about to turn the tearjerker up to 11.
And this is song your alleged father wrote about your mother? So that was the song, Lorraine. That's your mother's name.
Yeah.
Here it comes. Ms. Fuller and Mr. alleged dad Neil finally meet, and it's as awkward as a high school dance. There's hugging, there's crying, and the audience is eating it up. They've got a lifetime of catch-up to do in like 5 minutes. You won't want to miss how Mr. Neil handles the spotlight.
Thank you.
Mr. Neal, thank you so much for being here today. We are here because, of course, Ms. Fuller found you, Facebook, she says, and reached out to you. She believes there's a possibility you may be her biological father. Do you remember her mother, Lorraine?
Yes, I was singing in a band at the time.
Oh boy, here's the tea. After Lorraine got hitched to another dude and skipped town, Neil couldn't shake her off. So what did our Romeo do? He tracked her down for one last fling. Yep, it's as scandalous as it sounds. But wait till you hear what happens when the DNA results come in.
Well, yes, I I knew she had married somebody else because I knew the guy. He was from the same hometown. She got married and left town. I didn't know where she had. I found out that she was in San Bernardino. So me and my brother drove to San Bernardino to the place I thought she was at. And I knocked on the door and she came to the door.
She did.
Get ready for the big reveal.
As to whether Mr. Neal is her biological father. Mr. Neal, you are not Miss Fuller's father. I'm sorry, Miss Fuller.
Buckle up, folks! Ms. Cotton is spilling the tea that Mr. Pendleton denies being the father of their 5-month-old daughter, Love, because his mom is whispering doubts in his ear. She's dead sure he's the dad and is here to clear the air today. Get ready! The next part is a doozy.
Miss Cotton, you say Miss Pendleton's meddling mother is the reason he is denying your 5-month-old daughter, Love Cotton. You claim you are 100% positive the father and plan to set the record straight today.
Oh boy, here we go! Mr. Pendleton and his mom have entered the chat, both firmly in the camp that he couldn't possibly be Love's dad due to some fertility doubts. Mom's not just in his life, she's in his business too.
Mr. Pendleton, you are here today with your mother, and you both believe that it's impossible that you fathered Miss Cotton's daughter because you claim you are unable to have children.
And it gets juicier. Ms. Cotton is firing back, saying Love is practically Mr. Pendleton's twin, minus her own features. She's fuming over him not stepping up, blaming it all on his overbearing mom. Hang tight, because it's about to get even spicier.
I just want to say his mother needs to mind her business. Like, at the end of the day, Darren is a grown man. And I understand he's a mama's boy, but he's a grown man now, and he needs to stand up and take care of his responsibility. Like, my daughter looks exactly like him, and I really not figure out how he denies her.
Your Honor, she don't look nothing like that. None of my features, my nose, my mouth, my eyes, nothing. And on spite of that, I've been in a relationship for 8 years prior to this.
You'll want to hear this. Amidst all the drama, Ms. Cotton doubles down, blaming the paternity denial on Mr. Pendleton's mom playing puppet master. The audience is eating it up. Watch closely, because things are about to get more tangled.
You say he's denying your baby.
Yeah.
And you say it's his mother. She's meddling.
Well, she said she was with another man at the same time.
What was the nature of this relationship? Admitted, or what were you
we were together for a while, and then we separated, but we were still having sex.
So how many years? How long?
About 10 months separated, and then we were still, dealing with each other.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any wilder, boom, Ms. Cotton drops a bombshell. There was another man in the mix around baby-making time. Trust and responsibility are flying out the window now. But wait, there's more drama brewing.
I slept with one person in April.
Okay, so you slept with somebody.
Right, but how many times though? Like, tell me it was once.
One time in April.
But how can I believe
when
I'm
at
saying
the end of the day,
you tell
I'm
me
a grown
that you
woman. I
did
can do
it?
whatever I want.
So how are you 100% sure?
You slept with somebody in April. The court records say that your child born in December, right? Landed April at 9 months.
Oh, snap. Turns out the plot isn't just thick, it's complicated. Ms. Cotton admits the other guy might have ditched protection mid-encounter, shaking up her 100% certainty claim. Keep your eyes peeled. The next revelation is a real kicker.
From when you slept with the other guy?
Yes.
But you did have sex with someone else, and was it protected or unprotected?
It was protected until he took the condom off.
And that would be unprotected.
But she's 100% sure.
The question of the day, besides the paternity.
Because allegedly but she a baby. She ain't got her features yet.
Don't get me wrong. She have her features
don't get me wrong.
Like,
she beautiful, but I can't, she a baby.
Get ready for a curveball. The judge is now dissecting the pregnancy timeline after that potential second dad bombshell, trying to pin down the conception mystery. The truth is stranger than fiction here, folks. The verdict's coming up, and you won't believe it.
Does the doctor ever verify that the timeline that you believe to be true is? That's the testimony I was trying to get. So now you told Mr. Pendleton that he is the biological father based upon the due date. Did you tell this other guy that he was a possibility?
He's relevant.
No, but did you tell him he was a possibility?
I found out all the stuff that was going on. I was honest with him as well.
That's my point.
Here's where it gets real. The spotlight shifts to Mr. Pendleton's role, or lack thereof, in Love's life. Ms. Cotton's not holding back on her disappointment with his daddy duties. The final showdown is upon us. It's gonna be epic.
What has Mr. Pendleton done for her?
Honestly, spent a little bit of time, got her on a couple weekends.
Yeah, and I've kept her over weekends. I took her out down Philly. I take her out and have fun with her.
Are you supporting her financially?
No.
I do what I can for her when I can. All right, whatever.
It's no.
The big reveal is finally here. Drum roll, please.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Pendleton, you are the father.
I saw him and his wife in a tavern, and I walked up to him and say, "Hey, baby dad, we have a child together," and they're looking at me like I'm crazy. He's like, "No, I don't have any." So I'm like, "Yeah, we have a 10-year-old child together."
Greg, why would you do that like that?
What do you mean?
He knew I was dealing with other men because I was very honest with Robert, Mr. Drumgold, up front. I was super honest with him, and I told him, I'm doing me, you doing you, because I know how you get down, period. When I was all in for it with him, he was not wanting no parts of me.
My mother walked in the door, my mother walked by, and then I forgot and left her clothes there, her shoes in the living room, and she opened up the closet door.
That's what you call busted.
So, kicking things off with a bang, Miss Craig spills the tea that this courtroom drama is her last shot at figuring out who she really is. She's haunted by not knowing if the guy she's been calling dad all her life is actually her dad. As she shares her deep emotional struggle and the quest for her true identity, you'll want to stick around because things are about to get even juicier.
Miss Craig, you say that today is your last hope in discovering your true identity. Now, you state that one question continually haunts: is the man you've been calling dad for most of your life really your biological father?
Things heat up when Miss Craig's mom, Janelle, admits to a bit of a wild past with multiple partners around the time Miss Craig was conceived, but she's puzzled why her daughter is still on this mystery hunt. Then, Mr. Thompson drops a bombshell that he thought he was the dad until a wild twist made him doubt everything. And trust me, you haven't seen anything. The next part is a real doozy.
Miss Janelle Craig, you are Miss Mother. You admit to sleeping with more than one man at the time your daughter was conceived, yet you argue you don't understand why she's still looking for answers. Mr. Thompson, you say you always assumed you were Miss Craig's father, but then you claim a startling revelation caused you to question paternity.
Just when you think it can't get more tangled, Miss Craig takes us on a roller coaster back to her childhood days of daddy confusion, including a stern stop calling him daddy from her aunt. This chaos traces back to when Mr. Thompson popped into her life at 10, sparking all sorts of questions about who's who in her family tree. The emotional stakes are about to skyrocket, so don't go anywhere.
I've been going through too much, in and out of foster homes, back and forth. When I was about 5, there was a man in my life. He was said to be my father. I can remember calling him daddy, and my auntie like, don't call him daddy anymore, because that's not your dad. And I couldn't understand why. Like, as a child, I couldn't understand why.
Out of nowhere, Janelle Craig faces off with Mr. Thompson in a tavern, claiming he's the dad right in front of his wife, only to get shut down with a big fat nope. This public showdown just adds more spice to the already sizzling pot of family secrets. Keep watching. The drama level is just about to explode.
When she was, I think, 10, I saw him and his wife in a tavern, and I walked up to him and say, hey, baby dad, we have a child together, and they're looking at me like I'm crazy. He's like, no, I don't have any. So I'm like, yeah, we have a 10-year-old child together.
Craig, why would you do that like that?
What do you mean?
In a twist of fate, Mr. Thompson gets a call from Miss Craig's aunt, pulling him back into the fray because her mom was MIA. Despite his reservations, he dives back in to try and patch things up with Miss Craig, showcasing the messy road to rekindling family ties. And you better believe it, what's coming next is going to blow the lid off this pot.
Chanel auntie had gave me a call and told me that Chanel needed me, and told me that her mother was on the way and she needed me back. And she asked me if I come back and get into her life. That's what I did, because I felt that she is a possible chance that she was.
So you came back, and so you started a relationship with her?
She wouldn't come with me alone.
Pouring her heart out, Miss Craig talks about how this whole paternity circus has been a major emotional drain, especially dealing with her on and off dad and her distant mom. This part of the saga really tugs at the heartstrings, showing just how deep family wounds can go. Buckle up, because the emotional roller coaster is about to hit a major drop.
I feel hurt by the whole situation. I feel like I got suffered for their mistake. They don't even understand like how bad it feels to me that
Well, tell them.
I gotta go through this. Y'all hurt my feelings, for real, Mom.
Well, I apologize. That was never my intentions to hurt you. Life, it comes with up and downs, and it comes with hurt.
Finally, the moment of truth.
Miss Craig, Mr. Thompson is not your father.
Sorry, Neil. You can give me a hug.
Early fireworks. Miss Souses is throwing shade, claiming Mr. Payne's mama is the reason he's denying he's the daddy to baby Aleliana. She's pushing to slap his name on that birth certificate stat. Watch how they stir the pot next.
Miss Souses, you have dragged Bennett into court today because you say it's his mother's fault he's denying your 10-month-old daughter, Aleliana. You claim when the DNA results prove he is the father, you want the defendant's name added to her birth certificate.
Talk about a hot mess. Ms. Souses spills the tea on their on-again, off-again love saga, pinning him as a jealous mess. Meanwhile, he and his mom tag team, calling her sneaky. The plot thickens, and oh boy, you ain't seen nothing yet.
So jealous and insecure about himself. Like, everywhere I go, he think I'm doing something. If I go to the store, I gotta be back in a certain time. Like, he's just crazy.
She honest, she lying. She been out there, Facebook.
You guys, they're both jealous.
Of course I'm jealous. You were my boyfriend for like almost years.
And why wouldn't I be
you guys
jealous?
do the same thing to each other.
All right.
How old are you guys?
I'm 19.
I'm 20.
Oh, the drama ramps up. Mr. Payne dishes out a tale of betrayal. As Ms. Seuss hit the movies with another dude right after that they got chatty, she claps back about his escapades, turning the courtroom into a reality show. Grab your popcorn, because there's more juicy stuff ahead.
The first day after we started talking, she went to the movies with some other guy. Facebook messages telling her ex she loved this, and
Yeah,
that.
but the next day you did something with another girl and you was just telling your ex you loved her. So what's the difference?
You lying in court? Crazy.
Miss Seuss, you did contact your ex?
Yeah, I said I care for him. I never said I loved him. He told his ex he loved her. And I did go to the movies with a boy, okay?
Things get real. Amidst all the back and forth about their rocky romance, the bombshell drops, pregnancy. But Mr. Payne is all about that DNA life before he signs on his dad. The tension's building, and just wait for what's next.
He was happy for a minute, and then, I don't know, I guess there we go with the DNA test stuff, so.
I was happy and shocked at the same time, because I felt like it happened fast, because we had just got back together.
Yes.
How soon after you got back together?
It seemed like right away. It seemed like that's the only reason why I questioned it, because the first time she was pregnant twice, I knew without a doubt it was his.
Family Feud time. Both their clans get into the mudslinging, debating who did what and when. It's like a soap opera with no commercial breaks. The chaos is just ramping up, so keep your eyes peeled.
They both do things to each other. It seems like they go tit for tat. Oh, you talking to a guy? I'm gonna go talk to this girl. God, they do this.
Yes, I did it. Yeah, I'm not innocent.
This is
but
what
I'm not
they
gonna
do.
put no
Me
baby
neither.
on
I'm
something that's not
innocent
yours.
either. But I wasn't though, because you wanted to stay away.
Yes, I did.
So what happened during the pregnancy?
Time when someone came up to me in the supermarket and, yeah, well, you're right to want a DNA test because she moves around. This lady she knows came home and told him, and he told her.
Oh, the struggle bus has arrived. These two can't figure out how to co-parent without throwing shade. It's a he said, she said showdown with baby caught in the middle. And guess what? The roller coaster is only getting loopier.
She didn't have to be alone. She chose to.
Yup,
That was on her.
because who was there for me?
Mr. Payne says you didn't have to be alone.
Because I've been independent for so long, so many years by myself. I was used to it, so it was like.
Did you want him to be there and help you?
Yes, I did.
I'm confused as to why you didn't allow him to help.
I did. We just argued too much, which was too much for around my daughter, and I don't want that all around.
Here we go again. They rehash their breakup and patch up timing, which just so happens to coincide with the baby making. Mr. Payne's got doubts, and they're airing out all their dirty laundry in front of the judge. Stick around, because the finale's coming up.
So you were broken up or on a break,
And then we got
and
back
she was
together.
dating other people, you were dating
I wasn't
other
dating
people.
I
nobody.
can't say she dating anybody, but I know we was both. I seen her at a party with a dude, and that was a couple weeks before we got back together. That's the last thing I could say.
Were you having sex during the breakup?
No, we don't talk to each other until we decide we miss each other. Then that's when we have sex.
Emotional roller coaster alert. The absence of Mr. Payne's John Hancock on the birth certificate is a major plot point, igniting more fireworks about his role in baby Aleliana's life. But don't go anywhere. The best is yet to come.
You say he's not on Aleliana's birth certificate.
Yes, that's another reason why I didn't let him take her as much.
I told him if you have any doubts, you can't sign it if you have any doubts. Get the DNA test first, like he's
sad that it took 10 months for it to happen, but at least it could happen today. And if child, I'm gonna step all the way.
Good.
all the way.
100%. You don't gotta say good. You know what I'm gonna do.
Finally, some answers. Judge Lake hands down the DNA verdict, and guess what?
It has been determined by this court. Payne, you are father.
Thank you.
I'm happy. Now I'm happy. Now I could be happy.
Buckle up, here it goes. Ms. Holman throws down the gauntlet in court today, claiming Mr. Drumgold is playing dodgeball with his responsibilities towards their 2-month-old daughter, Eleni. She's banking on the DNA test to tag him as the dad. And oh, just wait till you hear what Mr. Drumgold has to say next.
Ms. Holman, you opened this case against Mr. Drumgold because you claim he denies fathering your 2-month-old daughter, Alani. You want Mr. Drumgold to step up to today's result, prove what you believe. He is the father.
Here comes the curveball. Mr. Drumgold fires back, totally convinced he couldn't be the daddy. According to him, Ms. Holman wasn't exactly sitting at home knitting. She had a couple other buddies at the time of conception. Strap in, because this roller coaster is just getting started.
Mr. Drumgold, you claim there is no way you are her daughter's father because you know for a fact Ms. Holman was sleeping with at least 2 other men at the time of conception. And you believe either of those 2 men could be Alani's father.
Talk about selective hearing. The court learns that Mr. Drumgold is all ears when it's party time, but suddenly goes deaf when it's about diaper duty. He's all about the fun calls, but mention baby Alani, and it's like talking to a brick wall. Keep your eyes peeled. The next part is even juicier.
So you feel like he's denying the baby?
Yes.
Incident and 2 other gentlemen that I know during the time that she supposed to had Alani that she was dealing with.
At the same time, me and Mr. Drumgold were never in a relationship. We have always had a relationship. The fact that he knew that there was a possibility he could have been Alani's father, he should have made some type of effort. He said he showed up at my house to bring me something, but someone else was there, so he decided decided to leave.
Oh, the drama unfolds. Ms. Holman reminisces about their spicy first meeting. Mr. Drumgold was quite the charmer, apparently. She fell for his swagger faster than a cat on a hot tin roof. But hang tight, because there's more tea coming your way.
So when I met Mr. Drumgold, he party promoter, and I used to be I'm a dancer. I was a dancer for him. I met him through a mutual friend, a family member. Instantly, Mr. Drumgold was delicious. He just oozed bossness, and I told him, I got to have you. Like,
Oh, that's
like,
what you told him?
Yes, he said, I'm feeling you too. So we made it from there.
So why did it never become a relationship?
Time I was in a relationship.
You won't believe this. Mr. Drumgold spills the beans about walking in on another dude getting cozy with Ms. Holman. That throws a big ol' wrench in the Who's Your Daddy mystery.
As far as
I came to her mother's house and another man was rubbing her belly.
He knew I was dealing with other men because I was very honest with Robert, Mr. Drumgold, up front. I was super honest with him, and I told him, I'm doing me, you doing you, because I know how you get down, period. When I was all in for it with him, he was not wanting no parts of me.
You were doing you, and he's doing him.
Absolutely.
Enter Mr. Rich, the plot thickener. He's been in the on and off game with Ms. Holman for years and thought maybe, just maybe, he might be Alani's pops. The plot thickens. Don't blink now, because what's coming up will drop your jaw.
How did you two meet?
We met at a party back in 2016. She gave me a lap dance and we ended up having sex.
And how long did the sexual relationship last?
It was off and on. It's been off and on for the last 4 years.
Still in a sexual relationship now. Sir, did she tell you when she was pregnant with Alani that Alani was your child?
Yes, she did.
Grab your tissues, folks. Mr. Rich gets all in his feels about Alani, even though he's not sure if he's the father. He's ready to play dad no matter what the test says, because let's face it, he's smitten. What comes next will tug at your heartstrings even more.
Through the whole pregnancy, I still had love for this woman. It wasn't until after Alani was born when I really fell in love with that child and made up my mind I was gonna be there.
Why would you even tell me? There ain't no possibility that it could be nobody else. If he wasn't in the picture, then why is he here?
Rich to come back. I knew that Rich wasn't the father, but I knew that he would be there for me. I knew he loved me.
Talk about a family tree with more branches than a sequoia. Miss Nelson lays out her wild family situation, noting the mismatch between her heartfelt daddy-o and the guy on her birth certificate. Then, out of the blue, some dude slides into her DMs on birth certificate, which has Vincent Preston Nelson stamped on it as her father, a guy she's never even heard of. Plot twist? You'll need to see it to believe what happens next.
Father
doesn't stop here, folks.
So then you get a message, another man saying he's your father.
I got a message from a man named Christopher Lancaster saying that I'm your dad. He was sorry for not being in my life. He left 2 numbers on there, contacted both those numbers. The numbers were disconnected because it was that he had left me the message. It was in my other's box on Facebook. That's how he messaged me on Facebook.
Mr. Sterling takes the stage to spill the beans about his old flame with Miss Nelson's mom and why he ghosted, blaming it on life choices and some family gatekeeping. Emotional alert, the feels are about to get real.
Your name is Christopher Sterling. Did she get this message from a Christopher Lancaster? Do you know that person?
Yes, ma'am. I put that message on Facebook. The reason being, I had problems with other people in my life, so I didn't want to use my real full name. I made up a Facebook page of Christopher Lancaster. I always was looking for my daughter.
Didn't see that coming, did you? Plot twist, you won't believe the drama that's about to unfold here. Ms. Walker steps up with a tale about her son, Delante's maybe baby, Delante Royal, and the big question mark after her son's tragic exit stage left. She's here fishing for DNA proof to see if she can call this kiddo her grandson. Talk about an emotional roller coaster, right? The stakes are sky high, given the soap opera-worthy backstory. And trust me, you'll want to stick around for the next bit.
Miss Walker, you say before your son Delante's tragic death, he had doubts that he had fathered the defendant's 1-year-old son, Delante Royal. You claim you need today's DNA results so you can embrace this child as your grandson. Ms. Royal, you claim that you are 100% positive that Miss Walker's deceased son is biological father of your child, and today's results will prove paternity.
Hold on to your popcorn, folks. Ms. Walker dives deep into the feels train with a story about her son's untimely demise and his leftover doubts about whether he was actually a dad. She's all about finding closure and possibly welcoming this little one into the family fold, mentioning how heavy this whole scenario is weighing on her. The judge nods along, totally getting the emotional turmoil. Just when you think it can't get more intense, the next scene takes it up a notch.
Well, Your Honor, my son was tragically murdered. The day of his passing, my son left something behind with me, and that was his doubt. And I am here today to get the doubt taken care of. Her child, her son, I don't know if that's my grandchild or not. And it hurts. I would love to embrace that child.
Man, the vibes here are intense. Ms. Walker lays out how much her fam digs Ms. Royal's little dude, but there's a big old cloud of doubt raining on their love parade. They're all about needing rock-solid answers to wash away the uncertainty so they can fully open their arms to the type. You can practically feel the family tug-of-war going on. Buckle up, because the story takes a wild turn just around the corner.
We love her son. but we just can't go all the way. We can't be 100%. Because we just don't know. We need those answers. We need to know. My son would have wanted that. He did want that. You know, he had doubt.
Touched me when you said your son left something behind.
Yes, he did.
And we want to say he left a son.
Right.
Cue the drama music. Ms. Royal steps up to defend her honor, swearing up and down that Delonte was indeed the baby daddy. No questions asked. She recounts a spicy tale of text messages and suspicions that got Delonte wondering if he was the father after all. Ms. Royal is sticking to her guns, claiming loyalty through and through. Just wait till you hear what comes next. It's a doozy.
The reason why I say that, I have been completely loyal to him. There's no other person that can say, this may be my child. I am 100% sure that this is Delonte's son.
I remember one day, to fuel his doubt, they got in an argument. He seen text messages between her and a guy around the time when she conceived, and so he doubted.
Whoa, things just got real in the delivery room. Picture this. Delonte is there, the baby pops out, and boom, drama bomb. He publicly says no thanks to a DNA test to keep the peace, but whispers to his mama later that yep, he's gonna need that test after all. This scene has personal drama and public facades clashing in a spectacular fashion. And yup, there's more juice coming up.
The day of the birth, we're all in there, we're all happy. It was her family member. He embraced that child. He kissed the baby on the forehead and everything. She asked him, she said, he laid his head on my shoulder. First he said, Mom, I think I'm gonna throw up when he seen the baby. You know, he looked around, seen her family members, he told her no. But then later on that day, he looked at me and Mom said, yeah, I need a DNA test.
You're not gonna believe this twist. After the baby's grand entrance, Delonte can't shake off his nagging doubts and confesses to his mom that he indeed wants that DNA test, stat. This sneak peek into his private concerns versus his public face just thickens the plot. Meanwhile, Ms. Royal is out of the loop, making the trust issues even spicier. The big reveal is up next. It's a jaw-dropper.
I didn't care about the doubt. He named my child after
So
him.
it's your testimony. The reason why I asked him, do you want one, is because I knew it was his child. So if you want one, let's get it so
let's
we can get it done.
You know,
why he didn't sign a birth certificate, Your Honor?
He didn't sign it because he didn't have his ID. When we kept telling him he was being irresponsible, that was not my fault.
Everyone in the courtroom is on the edge of their seats.
It has been determined by this court. The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Monique Walker, Delonte Royal is 99.99.
Period.
You are related.
Here's the scoop. Ms. Alston kicks things off with a bang, stating her case to prove Mr. Holmes is actually her biological dad. She's totally sure about it despite Mr. Holmes waiving the birth certificate and child support papers like a flag at a football game, insisting Mr. Alston is her real dad.
Come to court to prove to the defendant, Mr. Holmes, whom you first met at the age of 15, that you are his biological daughter. You say there's no way she's your child, and today the DNA will prove your case. You say her biological father is David Alston, the man who is on her birth certificate and paid child support for her.
Just when you thought it was simple, Mr. Holmes throws a curveball, doubting he's Ms. Alston's father, with tales of his brief flings with her mom. His recounts are more casual than a Sunday morning, and his skepticism stems from being out of the loop about Ms. Alston until she was practically all grown up.
Because Miss Alston's mother, back in the day, she was like, because I met her at the school bus stop. She was in high school. 2 days later, after I met her, I had sex. I called her again a couple days later, asked her to come back, and we had sex again. So it was kind of like a booty call. Yeah, I didn't know nothing about her until 15 years later. So I kind of felt that she wasn't mine because I didn't even know that she exists until that time.
Grab your tissues, folks. Ms. Alston dives deep into her emotional bag of woes, chatting about her daddy issues with Mr. Alston, the man she thought was her pops. This bit is more tangled than last year's Christmas lights, showing us just how messy family secrets can be.
As to why your mother said one man was your father, then another man, did she ever give you a reason?
She never did. When she told me and I met Miss Jenny, when they took me in as a family, I just ran with it because she said he was my dad.
Did you run with it because you had such a difficult relationship with Mr. Al, needed somewhere to run?
Yes, Your Honor.
You won't see this coming. Enter Mr. Alston, strutting into court like he owns the place, fully convinced he's the daddy. His shock at the mere suggestion of not being the father could win him an Oscar.
She says she was told for the first 15 years of her life that you were her biological father, and then all of a sudden she was given another name.
15 years ago, I just found out what?
So you're saying that up until recently, you still considered her your daughter?
Yes, that's my daughter. There's no way in the world I would not think.
He calls me his daughter sitting here, never been a dad to me.
and the plot thickens. As if we're in the middle of a soap opera, Mr. Holmes and Mr. Alston go head-to-head, slinging mud about who did what for Ms. Alston. This showdown is juicier than a high school gossip session.
You don't care for him because you feel like he rejected you when you needed
abandoned
help?
Yes, it is. I mean, 16 years, he found out something different. I was like, wow.
If you knew that she was your daughter, it shouldn't even matter. You should never, that's why I feel the way I feel, man. If you a claimer, you don't want to have nothing to do with it. If that's your daughter,
I tried several times to have her to move in.
If you know for sure deep down in your heart, you don't turn her away, man.
Hold the phone, folks.
Mr. Alston, you are not Alston.
Get the...
Why is she doing that?
Lord have mercy.